Hello, my friend. Have you ever had something to say and went silent? Have you ever stumbled through a conversation only to think later, well, that's what I should have said? Do you feel like there are times your message gets completely lost in translation? Well, you're not alone. Get ready because we're going to talk about how to uplevel your communication skills. I'm Kathy Riley, your host and communications expert with over 25 years in litigation and another 15 as an entrepreneur, which is funny because I'm only 29. Our goal here is to share tools, systems, and techniques guaranteed to shift the way you connect with others. From mastering the art of tough conversations to cultivating a mindset that screams confidence, you'll learn how to break those bad habits and shatter communication barriers. Today, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. 'Tis the season. And I can't tell you how many people I've met with that are all into resolutions. But there's tons of studies on that and they've updated them. So let me share with you some resolution information. So it says 62% of Americans actually make resolutions. So over half of us make resolutions. Most of us focus on health and wellness. And what's interesting is in the last couple of years, it shifted from not only physical and just weight to like overall health, muscle, and mental. So creating those mental strong habits, increasing like yoga and mindfulness and all that good stuff. So health and wellness for us in America has actually gotten better and broader, which I absolutely love. It's so good. 50% of us are actually going to use an app to help us keep track. And you would think, and apps, things like that help us be accountable, right? They keep us tracking ourselves. So it's so good. Yet 20% of us feel like even with these goals and this app that we don't feel confident enough to achieve our goal. Only 20% of us think we are going to attain it. And here's the interesting statistic. When you break it down, I've seen two studies. One says 6%, the other says 1%. So less than 10%. Let's just call it that. Less than 10% of people making goals actually accomplish them. I'm sorry, I should say resolutions. Less than 10%. Most people who make resolutions, they give up within the first week, the first month. I love it. I'm a gym goer. I like to swim. So I'm only in there once or twice a week. But I love the swim because I don't have a pool. So I got to go to the gym. And January, February, it's always busy. By the end of February, I've got my lane back. I don't have a problem. So it's funny that I can see it. Historically, we see this. So what does that say about resolutions? Forget about it. Forget about it. Resolutions are not worthy of your time, effort, and your capability. Forget the resolutions. Focus on the goal and the game plan. Goal and game plan. So use those words. I don't make resolutions. I have a goal and a game plan. Say this with me now. I don't make resolutions. I have a goal and a game plan. A goal and a game plan. Because at the end of the day, that's why. So resolutions, why they don't work? Resolutions, they're too rigid. They're too big. I'm going to lose this much weight. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to save this. There is no structure when it comes to making a resolution. They're arbitrary. They're not flexible. So it's an all or nothing mindset when it comes to resolutions. And at the end of the day, that's not going to help us. So setting goals, okay, that are challenging and achievable lead to a 90% chance of performing it. 90%. So knowing not a resolution, but a goal that may be a bit of a struggle bus, but it is achievable. We have a 90% chance of accomplishing that. Crazy, right? So forget the resolutions. Focus on the goal. But the other thing is, have a vision before action, right? Start with the end in mind. Clarity creates confidence. I love that. Clarity creates confidence. So where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What's the one goal that you want to accomplish here in 2025? What's the one thing? Losing weight, saving money, date nights, a new house, a trip, whatever it is. What's that one goal? Don't focus on too many. Focus on one. What's that one goal? Start with the end in mind. Start with your vision. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And why? Why? Why does it matter to you? If you want to get physically fit, right, and have a better physical appearance, feel, why? Why? Is it because you want to be around for your grandkids? Is it because you want to have, um, I was going to say active date nights, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean, you want to go skiing, you want to go snowboarding, you want to go hiking, you want to do that. You want to travel Italy and walk without losing your breath? Why? Why? Why is so very, very important? One of my first entrepreneurial ventures was a party plan business. And I thought, okay, working, 60, 70 hours a week with the law firm, this has got to be so much better. Um, and so I was doing parties 2 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. But a party plan business, well, guess what? You do parties, you work with women. It was jewelry because I'm part raccoon, love jewelry and sparkles and all things that go along with that. So it was a simple business for me. So we would do parties and we do it when your client, my customer, my hostess could do it, which were typically happy hours. So I was leaving my family to go spend time with these women 2 to 3 times a week at night. And I would get home maybe sometimes before my daughter goes to bed, oftentimes not. And it's funny, I hit a plateau in my business. And it took my husband, who shifted my perspective on it, is why am I doing this? I'm doing this to spend time with my family. Well, guess what? He gets home, she gets home, I leave. So it wasn't in alignment. And I was successful. Yes. Super successful. I could never get over that hump because it wasn't in alignment with my big why. And my big why is my family. So when you're thinking about what's that thing that you want, what's that one goal you want in 2025? What's the why? Because the why, it's important because the why is going to help you be accountable when you don't feel like it. And the reality, oftentimes we don't feel like doing the things that we need to do. We don't. I tell my daughter all the time, since even when she was a little girl, she doesn't feel like doing her homework. She doesn't feel like making her bed. We don't feel like doing a lot of stuff. It's a suck it up, buttercup kind of moment because this has got to get done. So you got to do it. And if you remember the why behind it, you will remember and engage that feeling that, okay, I do feel like doing this. Because maybe I'm, starting that run or that workout or eating that salad may not be good, but when you're done, you're going to say, okay, I know why. I remember why I wanted to do this. So have a vision, all right? Getting clear with where you want to go and your why is so important. Goals actually change the way our brain works. Is that crazy? Goals change your brain because when you can focus on your goal and the why behind it, emotionally attached, your brain will help you rewire itself in order for you to accomplish it. It will be on your side, but you've got to be clear and concise, and you've got to have that why, that true why, which is also why it's important to only have one goal, maybe two goals, to not be working on so many things that the brain then becomes in a state of overwhelm. Because when the brain becomes overwhelmed, action does not happen. In fact, we tense up, we go back inside, and we don't move. Okay, overwhelm is the enemy of action. So to be really, really clear, avoid that. So one path, maybe two if it's in alignment. So that's it. The next thing I want to share is how do you got to break it down to build it up. Meaning, start with the end in mind. So let's say you want to run a half marathon. I'm sorry, you want to run a marathon. Let's say a marathon. Let's push it. Let's push ourselves. Come on. We got little legs. Let's do this. So we're going to run a marathon in 2025. next year. So knowing, okay, so that means we got to run. Well, we're not just going to walk out the door and run 26.2 miles right now. That's not going to happen. So, and when we think about how that is, like, I'm going to run that much, or I want to cycle that 100, right? The 100-mile one. I've got a friend that did that. There are so many, you can get overwhelmed with just the thought of such a grandiose goal. But when you break it down bit by bit, bite by bite, it is not so overwhelming. And the reality of it being realistic sets in. So what I mean by that, let's use the marathon. Okay, 26.2 miles. We want to do that next December. So let's break it down. That's our annual goal. So 6 months is 13.1. And then break it down quarterly. What's that? You do the math. What's that? Whatever that's going to be. Let's see. 7 miles. So let's say 7, 8 miles. And then keep breaking it down to what you need to do monthly, weekly, daily. And when you break it down little by little, it's not so bad. Chances are you could probably go out there and run a mile, 2 miles right now. And I don't mean run like 6 minute mile. I mean jog, right? Fast walk. You can go out and do that right now. Chances are you might be able to do 2.5 to close to 5 without collapsing. You can do it depending on the shape that you're in. So break it down little by little. Okay, this is what I'm going to do um, this week, this month, this quarter, at 6 months, and a year. Taking it bit by bit. I did a half marathon. I did a half marathon about a decade ago, and I had never run more than a 5K in my life. So, but I was a runner, and it was through Team in Training and the Lymphoma, Leukemia Society, something along those lines, which I had a family member recently pass with cancer and leukemia. It aligned with my goals, wanting to be physically fit. What the heck? Let's do a challenge. And what was interesting with Team in Training is they actually gave us a schedule and they broke it down. So this is what, the end goal was. And then they broke it down. They broke it down even weekly. So if you take your monthly, your quarterly, your monthly, and you can go even further to week 1 to week 52, right? What that looks like. And it made it so much simpler that my brain was like, okay, I could do this. So I'm running 3 times a week. I'm stepping out and, you're doing the short runs, 2 short ones, and then 1 long run to push the distance. And I'm like, it was so simple. My brain, my body, everybody, it, it was simple. It was simple. How can you simplify the goal that you want right now? Breaking it down. Okay, start with the end in mind. Break it down. Big goal, 1 year. What does that mean for 6 months? What does that mean for 3 months? Your quarterly goals. Then even break it down to monthly, weekly, and daily. Using that, your why, tying that in as your North Star. Then focus on what are the actions that you need to do, to take in order to accomplish those goals. Going back to the marathon, it was running, right? So you've got to run. Is it with your business? Are you a business owner? Are you looking to double your business? What are the activities that you need to be doing? What is your 6 month? What is your quarter? What does your monthly need to look like? All right, where do you want to set that up? And then what are the activities you need to be doing to accomplish that goal? I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who want to speak on stages, and they want big stages, right? And there's a lot of us speakers out there trying to get on stages. So you've got to create a pitch strategy, right? You got to create a time frame that, okay, I'm going to pitch myself to different organizations. I'm going to do that once a week, twice a week, whatever chunk, 2 hours at a time. I'm going to do 2 hours at a time. Here's my pitch strategy, and I'm going to get that because you've got to get so many pitches out there to get the yes. You've got to ask the question. You got to ask for the business in order to get the no's to get to the yes. So you got to get the no's too. You're gonna stumble. It's not easy, especially as an entrepreneur. Everybody would do it. But how can you break that down? So pitch strategies, I love working with entrepreneurs on this. It's like, okay, this is the stage. This is your ideal target market. And these are the pitches. So let's pitch this many this week. Okay, next week we're going to pitch this many. Now, the following week. These are the activities that we need to be doing to ensure that, 4 of the 5 are going to say no, but one of them's going to say yes. And then that fills your calendar. So thinking that breaking it down and then using the quarterly time frame to reevaluate what you've got working on with that one goal. Because maybe, let's say you are working on that marathon and you're injured, right? You tripped over somebody's dog while you were out there running and you're injured. And now you need to take the next 6 weeks off, right? So you'll need to recalibrate. That doesn't mean that the goal goes away, but you need to recalibrate your game plan. Maybe it's something as simple as like, the goal is like, I'm going to, as business owners, we also like, I'm working on the speaking, but guess what? I want to write a book. I want to write a book. So let's shift the goal. Once a quarter, you can reevaluate and shift to go, okay, I'm going to dedicate these next 2 months to writing my book and getting that out. And then I can launch even more of my time on this. Hopefully this makes sense. If it's like a food plan, right? Maybe you find out that you're on this food plan and you're allergic to something and you've had this reaction. And now you're like, your body needs a reset. So you have to give yourself grace and reevaluate that goal that you set in January may not make sense in March. It may not make sense in July. So to reevaluate, give yourself grace and be flexible. There's a book out there, Woman Plans, God Laughs. I love the book because the reality is good plans are good. The great plans are flexible and they roll with what happens in reality. All right. So breaking it down, doing the little things. The next step is to shift your mindset. Okay. The words matter and what we tell ourselves matters even more. So if you're saying things like, okay, I'm going to lose weight. My goal is to lose this many pounds. You're talking with people. Yep. I'm going to save more money and all of this. And oh, it's like, and how are you doing with that? It's usually the follow-up question. Somebody asks, how are you doing? Well, I've had a rough start. I'm working on it. The answer is and always will be, yes, I'm working on it. It's going great. I'm working on my goals. I'm working on my goals. They are attainable. Because if you sit there, I want to save money. You tell yourself, I want to save money. I really want to save money. Your brain is saying, good for you. If you say, I am saving money, little by little, I'm saving money. I'm working towards my goal of saving money. Your brain like, oh yeah, it's an alignment. It will then see and behave and think and make you think, right? Behave in a way that pushes you towards that goal that you want. So what are you saying to yourself around those goals? Pay attention and shift to the positive. The other thing is you don't say, I want to lose weight because all your brain hears is weight. And guess what? Your brain tells your body, I want weight. Well, no, you don't. Right? I want to be healthier. I want to weigh this much. Right? I am running a marathon in December 2025. I have $500,000 in the bank by December 2025. Shift the way you think and talk about your goal. Say it as if it's currently happening. It's in the positive. Get rid of the negatives. Focus on the positives. Build habits to really, really shift the way you think about that. And that's why when you do the daily activities, what are those 3 activities you can do each day to move you towards your goal? 3 things you could do to move you towards your goal. Because that's what, how is your goal going? Hey, I did X, Y, and Z today, and it was awesome. My goal, I'm hitting my goal, baby. I'm hitting my goal. Because remember those benchmarks. You don't need to have that marathon in your belt by March, but I'm going to run that marathon in 2025. I'm on my way. So pay attention. Be consistent with what you tell yourselves around this. And you know what? Evaluate your obstacles in advance. Think about that. What is that thing that's going to creep in? What's that itty bitty shitty committee that's going to pop up? Who's that friend that's going to say you can't do it? And reframe the way you think, the conversations you have around your goal to the people who are going to help and support you. And you know what? There are some people that don't need to know. They don't need to know what you're working on. They don't need to know everything about everything. You don't need to tell them. The goal is between you and yourself and the world. It's all up to you. Your only competitor is the person you was yesterday. So keep that in mind. And then regularly reflect on what is essential, what's working, what's not. Here's the reevaluation thing. You should be doing this every quarter. What's working, what's not. Okay? What needs to change? What needs to shift a little bit? You're working on your goal for running a marathon. Maybe it's time to, okay, your body is changing. Maybe you need to increase your protein, right? Maybe you need to increase more carbs. What is it that you need to do in order to achieve that goal? And then stay really curious about what's going on. Stay curious about the things that are happening, good, bad, or indifferent. And investigate. Ask questions. What can I do to improve this task, this arrangement, this mindset? What's one thing that I could do to improve this? So that's the framework, my friends. This truly is the framework, the blueprint for doing it. So here's what your next step right now is to grab a notebook, your app, right? Your little notes app, whatever it is, and write down one clear goal. What's one clear goal you absolutely want to accomplish in 2025? Whether it's financial, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, it's whether it's with your family, your house, whatever it is, your community, maybe you want to donate more money. Whatever it is, what's that one thing? One thing. Then define your why. Write it down. Write it down. Actually, it shows that if you write it down, you increase the probability of accomplishing the goal. So write it down. And if you make a plan and you enlist a friend, you have a 75% increased chance of getting to it by doing all of that. You've taken it to the next level. It's so good. So write down that one thing, a notebook. Okay, map out what's the end goal and your why. What does the end goal look like? What does 6 months look like? What does 3 months look like? What does 1 month look like? What does 1 week look like? And what is 1 day? And then what are the 3 activities you need to do? They're just small actions. Doesn't have to be anything big. What are 3 things you can be doing on a daily, or maybe it's even a weekly basis to move you towards your goal? Write that down. Don't overthink it. You guys, it's time to get started. And here's your game plan. That's it. You went from goal to game plan right here in the short time that we're together. Then tell one friend, tell one person who can help you be accountable. And honestly, more than they hold you accountable, it's the fact that you have now shared your goal with somebody else that it's going to increase your oomph to getting that because you shared it with so and so is going to see you. Well, are you running? Right? They're going to see what you're doing and they're going to know, and you're going to be like, oh, I feel more empowered to do this because I've shared it with somebody. Now, here's the one thing I'll tell you that people often struggle when they're working towards a goal is saying no to the things that really don't matter to them. In other words, they say yes to think the priorities for everybody else and not for themselves. Can you relate? God knows the part of the reason why I had a huge health challenge is because I was putting everybody else's health first and everybody else's everything first. And I let mine go, crashed and burned, baby. So I am here to tell you that you can say no to the things that don't matter, the things that are in alignment with your goal, your game plan. Those are your yeses. So I give you permission. You have been given permission to say no to the things that don't matter. And here's what I also tell you. If you need help on this, I've got something special for you. Download my Go for the No. It's a free little download. It's a resource to empower you and even encourage you to say no. Go for the no. It's 100 boxes. And you check off every time you say no, you check a box and you give yourself a high five. Self high five. Woohoo! You did it. And say no. Be empowered to say no. And on there, you'll get little rewards along the way for saying no to the things that don't matter and saying yes to yourself and to your goal, right? It's designed to help you stay focused and true to your own priorities and what really matters. You can get that at freegiftfromkathy.com. So it's free gift from Kathy is CATHY.com. Just go there, download it. This is my free gift to you. This will help you stay accountable and get used to saying no to the people who you may love and adore and respect. But you got to say no. You got to say no. It's okay to say no. It's really good sometimes to just say no, right? And be empowered to say yes to the things that matter to you most. All right, let's recap. Forget the resolutions. Honestly, New Year's resolutions don't work. Statistics say it. Studies show it. Everything, they don't work. Focus on the goals and the game plan. So what's that one goal? We wrote it down. Write it down again. What's that one goal and your why? Then write down the game plan. What does the 1 year look like? 6 months look like? 3 months? 1 month? 1 week? 1 day? Break it down. Get specific and make it simple. We overcomplicate things. We're humans. We overthink and overcomplicate. Break it down, baby. Break it down to these simple things. Then what are the 3 activities, small activities you can do on a daily basis to move towards this goal? Do a game plan check-in in 3 months. Reevaluate quarterly because you know this and I know this. Goals change. They evolve, right? So do the 3-month check-in. Put it on your calendar right now for March 1st. Let's figure it out. What does it look like? What's working? What's not? Share this goal with one friend who will help you be personally accountable. And then download the Go for the No worksheet to help you maintain your priorities and say no to the things that don't matter. Oh my goodness. This is something that this system, this blueprint I've used for years. It is how I've relaunched my business, how I have a best-selling book. I can tell you I've taught this to so many people who have accomplished their health and wellness. This is their business goals, so many things. Speaking on stages. This is juicy, my friends. This is the blueprint for making that goal a game plan to achieve the results and the success that you so honestly deserve. You deserve all that in a bag of chips. Now you have the game plan to get there. So that's a wrap for today's episode of Breaking Bad Communication. Thank you so much for tuning in and being here and playing with me. Before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe. And if what you heard today actually resonates with you, feel free to share this with somebody, tag somebody. Um, just know that I am here to help you on your path to success. Know this, the quality of your life is determined. It's directly related to the quality of your communication. And as you head back out into the world, remember every conversation is your chance to shape your life and the lives of others, those around you. Whether it's a tough talk, a casual chat, be clear, be intentional, and listen like it matters because it really does. Listening is so important. The better you communicate, the more your life aligns with what you truly want. So go out there, own your voice, own your truth, make your words work for you. Giddy up.